What's going on, War Room? We have finally made it to fight week after a long 6-week layoff, and what better way to start off the new year with this absolute banger of a card we got this Saturday, January 24th, when up-and-coming rising superstar Paddy the Paddy Pimblett takes on Justin Gaethje for the interim lightweight belt. The UFC made sure to start off the Paramount era strong, and I'm excited to get into it with you guys today, as I'm going to be breaking down and giving my final takes and predictions to every fight on the main card. First up, we're going to be starting with an absolute insane matchup to kick things off. So we got Gene Silva looking to bounce back after his first TKO loss to Diego Lopez back in September, taking on a hungry and motivated Arnold Allen, who's coming back for his first fight in over a year and a half, looking to bounce back on track after multiple injuries causing him to put his career on hold for a short period of time. This fight really excites me because the way that I see it, whoever wins this puts themselves up there with the number one contenders. Obviously, after Diego and Volt fight, it's got to be Murphy or Evolov, but besides that, the winner of this fight is probably one fight away from the title. So let's get into it. First, starting with Silva, and something we all know by now, he's got that one-punch knockout power that can put anybody's lights out. And it's not only about that, it's all the versatile ways he could use his power to end a fight. In my opinion, Silva's probably the most scariest guy on the feet in the whole division. That's how special this guy really is. And I know he was kind of getting dominated in that first round against Lopez, but man, was he really piecing him up on the feet in that second round before getting caught with his spinning elbow. It was clear that he was another level on the feet. The thing in that fight is, I feel like Silva was uncharacteristically doing things and taking chances that we normally don't see him do, which could be used as a learning experience. If you follow him or keep up with him on any social media, he's looking extremely locked in for this fight, posting training videos and counting down to his comeback daily. I think we're going to see the most focused and dangerous version yet, which is scary to think about. And even though a lot of people talk about the power of Silva, I feel like his grappling is underrated as well, as he submitted Bryce Mitchell, who was a highly skilled black belt, fairly easily. And I know he said he got dominated in that first round against Lopez, but at the same time, Lopez is the most dangerous guy on the ground in the whole division. If he had anybody else smelling like that, it's game over with. And not only was he able to withstand Diego's ground and pound, he was actually able to eventually escape and started putting the hands on Lopez, which shows the heart of Silva and makes me confident with him wherever this fight goes. And then we got Arnold Allen, who is solid everywhere and has a lot of experience against championship level fighters, which is a good thing he'll need to rely on, as we have not seen Allen in the cage since July of 2024. And I'm not going to lie, taking that much time off and coming back from injuries and surgeries got me a little worried for Allen going against someone as explosive and dangerous as John Silva is. I already see him being one step ahead on the feet over Allen, who is also explosive, but we did see him get picked apart for 5 rounds against Max Holloway, who is a volume puncher, but if he gets hit twice at least as many times against someone like Silva, I don't care who you are, you're going to sleep. And being a solid grappler, that's probably his best chance, is to mix it up and make it a real MMA match, not just about striking. But even then, we did see him get completely outmatched against Evolov, getting taken down multiple times. It just doesn't make me feel confident either way it goes. Like I said, Allen is solid everywhere, but he doesn't really stand out crazy in one certain area, where we do see that in Silva with his power and striking. I see Allen as a high contender, but not exactly championship level, and for that reason, I'm going to be going with Gene Silva to get this done by second or third round stoppage. Moving on to the next fight on the card, we got the replacement for the Amanda and Kayla Harrison fight, as Natalia Silva is taking on Thug Rose Namajunas. Starting off, I'm just going to say I feel like Silva is just going to be too fast, too quick, too slick on the feet for Rose. Her footwork is phenomenal, constantly moving, making her very hard to track down. I'm just not sure if Rose will be able to catch her. We know Rose is a dog and she's going to do anything possible to come out with a win, but to do that, she's going to have to find a way to make this ugly, cut off the cage, out-grapple Silva, which is easier said than done, as we've seen she does have good takedown defense. Not only that, 7 of her 19 career wins does come by way of submission. I do see Rose being Silva's toughest test so far in her MMA career, but with being a perfect 7-0 since entering the UFC and on a 13-fight overall win streak, not losing since 2017 by a decision when she was only 20 years old, I don't see any situation where that changes here, and I'm going to be going with Natalia Silva to win this one by decision. Next up, we have a fight that I would be very surprised if it makes it all 3 rounds, as the Black Beast Derek Lewis is coming back after his first round knockout against Taliesin Teixeira, taking on the red-hot Waldo Cortez Acosta, who's probably on the best run in the heavyweight division, making his 6th UFC fight in a little over 10 months, which is actually insane to think about. I find this fight being a little bit more tricky to make a decision on because both fighters have the power to end a fight at any moment. When we break it down, first starting with Derek Lewis, we see a man with the most knockouts in UFC history. But at the same time, it's hard to look past that he's turning 41 in February, and he's been on a steady decline for a while. If we break it down, his last fight against Teixeira, it only lasted about 30 seconds. The fight before that, he didn't look great against Nascimento, who's losing fights in the PFL now. Before that, he got dominated the whole fight against Almeida. The fight before that also only lasted about 30 seconds, which ended a 3-fight losing streak. The point that I'm trying to get at is, yes, Lewis has a couple knockouts the last couple fights, but it's been some years since we've seen him put on a full good performance. And I see that being a problem taking on an up-and-coming contender who's been as active as Acosta has been. Acosta has a snappy jab, and he also has that one-shot power that can end a fight. We do see him keeping his hands low and reaching out a lot, which could be a problem and lead to him being caught by Lewis. But with him being in his prime and a whole 6-7 years younger, I just feel like with all the activity he's had in the last year, I see Acosta being the more active and engaged fighter in this match, and I got him winning by a second-round TKO. Now, let's get into the co-main event, as Sean O'Malley is looking to make a comeback as he's taking on a very dangerous Song Yudong. You know, talk about a striking matchup. This could have the most highlights out of any fight on the entire card. For Sean, it's got to feel better coming to this matchup knowing he'll be able to utilize his style a lot better in this fight, as Song isn't as much as a threat where you have to constantly be worried about the takedown throughout the entire match. And I do believe him seeing Peter win the belt back is going to give him a boost of confidence. He'll need to go out there and really put on a show. You can say what you want about his last couple fights against Merab, who was basically dominating the whole division at the time, but one thing you have to admit is O'Malley is going to come and put on an absolute solid performance no matter how the fight goes. In my opinion, he's got the best striking in the whole division. He's tall and lengthy. For a bantamweight, it usually gives him an edge in the reach department against his opponents. He's got that sniper-level accuracy and one-shot power in both hands and feet that can end a fight at any second, just like we saw in his championship fight against Aljamain Sterling when he won the belt for the first time. And while Song can for sure crack anyone at any time, I just see Sean being able to use his good footwork and his 5-inch reach advantage to keep distance and stay out of harm's way, which he'll need to utilize because while maybe not being as versatile on the feet as Sean, Song still has that power that can end a fight at any instant. For him, I see that he's going to have to walk down O'Malley, gain his respect, keep pushing him to the back of the cage. He cannot let Sean control the middle of the octagon. It's going to be too much space. Song will be in for a long night if he does. I think he's got to come out looking to get his hands on Sean, really out-grapple him, and try to take him down, which we have seen has been O'Malley's weakness in the past. But you have to think he's been preparing for Merab his last 2 fight camps, and I can see Sean becoming a lot better in that department. Yes, he didn't look the best against Merab, but you have to realize Merab was doing that to everyone, and Song isn't that level of grappler. So, with my final pick, I will be going with Sean O'Malley. I think he's just going to be too much on the feet for Song. I think he's going to be putting on an absolute clinic. It's about time he gets back in the win column. He's due for one. Finally, in the main event for UFC 324, kicking off the new Paramount era, we have Paddy Pimblett taking on Justin Gaethje. First, let's start with Gaethje, who, just like his nickname says, is a walking highlight reel waiting to happen. He hits like a truck, is very explosive when striking, and has devastating leg kicks that can really injure an opponent. One thing about Justin, he's willing to take one to give one right back. Known for being in absolute wars and some of the best fights of all time. And don't get me wrong, he has won on fights before, but I think it's going to show to be a real problem in this one. Even though he did beat Fiziev, I wasn't really impressed with the performance, getting taken down twice in that first round, and before he got that knockdown in the second round, he was taking a lot of damage to the head, and he leaves his body open to kicks, which we did see Paddy have success in his fight against Michael Chandler. Then before that, I feel like he really got exposed on the feet against Max Holloway, arguably losing all 5 rounds before getting brutally KO'd in the last second of the fight. While he has shown to have good takedown defense in the past and having a background in wrestling, his grappling is going to be on point, as he's probably going to want to avoid going to the ground at all costs with someone as high-level jiu-jitsu as Paddy, because we have seen Gaethje get submitted multiple times in title fights before, going up against other high-level grapplers. While he does have the resume and a lot more championship experience, it's going to be hard for me to believe, with this being his 4th fight for the title, that he's going to be hungry enough or motivated enough to train like someone like Paddy, who for him, this is going to be his first shot at the title, and is going to be looking to win at all costs. At the end of the day, you can say what you want about Chandler, but the last fight, Paddy looked very much improved. His wrestling is suspect, yes. He did get taken down a couple times, but that's something he's not going to have to worry about as much going against Gaethje. Even when he does get taken down, his jiu-jitsu is so good it's dangerous as soon as it hits the ground. With smooth transitions, just look how he put Bobby Green to sleep. We saw the growth in his striking the last fight. I just feel like Paddy is starting to enter his prime, and we're going to see even a better version than him on Saturday night. So with my final prediction, I think Justin Gaethje is going to make it chaotic at first, like he always does, catching Paddy with some big shots because he is known to keep his chin high and walk into shots before. But I do believe Paddy is going to be able to weather the storm at first and get comfortable and start to find his range. Then, when he starts to land shots of his own, over time, with this fight being 5 rounds, I do see it where Paddy has enough time to eventually get this fight to the ground, and I'm going to say he gets this done by 3rd or 4th round submission to become the new interim lightweight champion. So, that's my full breakdown and predictions for UFC 324. Every key advantage and exactly how I see these fights playing out. If you disagree with any of these takes, please drop your thoughts and picks in the comments below. And as always, if you want more fight breakdowns and predictions, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Helps me out more than you guys know. See you guys after 324.